Hello and welcome, Wells Accessory Dwelling Unit Facts. In most parts of the U.S., zoning codes define some important rules for accessory dwelling units. First, they set the maximum square footage for the accessory dwelling unit. Next, they dictate where you can place it, like in the side yard, backyard, or whether it should be attached or detached. Mine is detached and placed in the back of the main house. Setbacks are also crucial. They tell you how close the ADU can be to fences or other structures. This is my setback calculations I did to scale on SmartDraw. SmartDraw is a good fit if you need basic two-dimensional floor plans. Room Sketcher is another choice of software that could help you as well. Lot requirements also come into play, like minimum size or frontage needed, and don't forget about parking. Some areas require additional parking for accessory dwelling units. You might be surprised to learn that travel trailers, or RVs, don't count as accessory dwelling units in residential zones. For example, in Durham, living in an RV in your backyard isn't allowed, even temporarily. And tiny houses on wheels, nope, those need to be tied down. So even if zoning says accessory dwelling units allowed, there's still rules to follow. You can only have one accessory dwelling unit per property, and it must meet building codes. It also needs to be on a lot with one or two primary units, and it can't generally exceed the maximum square footage allowed. So how do you check your zoning? Start by heading to your city or your county's GIS map. Enter your address to see what zones you're in, and then cross-reference that with the local Unified Development Ordinance or zoning code. For example, the zoning of my street is RU5 in an urban development tier. This means it's primarily for single-family houses and not commercial use. In contrast, for example, a CRU zone allows for limited commercial uses comparable with rural areas. Now, if you're thinking about an addition, is it for a garage or storage unit? Assuming it's for residential use, let's again talk about setbacks. Front setbacks. The rules aren't the same everywhere. Each city or county has its own zoning code that can explain how setbacks are measured. And some cities have a Unified Development Ordinance, or UDO, which is in a combined set of zoning and development rules. My city, for example, section 6.83 of the UDO, that's to see exactly how the front setback is calculated. Always look up your local zoning code or development ordinance to confirm setback requirements of your property. The front setback is calculated according to the Unified Development Ordinance in my city, so check section 6.83. For side yards, you need a 6-foot minimum individual and a 5-foot minimum total combined setback. And for the rear yard, it's a 25-foot minimum setback from the rear property line. Lastly, the property was not in a watershed protection overlay districts, so there are no impervious surface limitations. So final review. Again, in most parts of the U.S., zoning codes define 1. Maximum square footage of the accessory dwelling unit. 2. Placement, side yard, backyard, attached or detached. 3. Setbacks, how close it can be to fences or other structures. And 4. Lot requirements, minimum size of frontage. Finally, 5. Parking. Do I need to provide additional parking? Thinking about adding an accessory dwelling unit, also known as a granny flat or backyard cottage, you're in the right place. On my channel, I break down the rules and the real costs and the step-by-step process to help you turn your property into a money-making and or life-changing process. I'm Liz, and I've gone through the full journey myself, from zoning codes and setbacks to choosing a modular cabin built right here in the U.S. and navigating that complicated permitting process in my city of North Carolina. Every video on this channel is designed to save you time, money, and headaches, and giving you real-world examples of what works and what to watch out for. Wells ADU Facts.